Good morning, Story Trading VIPs. We got a little bit of a different setup this morning. Actually, let me make sure my microphone's working. I see, let's see, microphone. So maybe that's a better mic. All right, so we got a bunch of new things we're doing over here. So we got new video here, higher definition. We got a better screen share for better clarity, hopefully. When we zoom into the charts, I'm going to remove myself so we can zoom into those and you can get a better look. So this morning, anyway, let's move on. Let's get to the show. VIP pre-market prep. Last week, we talked about the SPY QQQ having a little bit of rally to the 20 DMA. I thought it was 411 over here, but I guess it dropped to 408. We're right on the 20 DMA this morning. You can see on QQQ a little bit more to go for that 20 DMA. And in fact, let me just remove myself now. No, that's not going to work. Don't want to remove myself. I still want to be here. Okay, now you can see me. Now you can see that chart a little bit better, hopefully. Okay, so that rally continues. Again, the question always is it a bear market rally or is the bottom in? Well, you know, we talked about the downsides here to the 200-week moving average and those lows. And at this point, you see the 20-week moving average here on QQQ. Yep, the 20-week moving average, we are above that. So you can see the upside targets using the weekly moving averages and the downside targets. And then you go to the daily, and you can see a little more precarious on the daily. So hopefully we break out of here, and who knows, maybe we head to there. Now, what are the catalysts? We have CPI tomorrow morning, and we have Fed next week. Those are the major two catalysts. Now, I've been looking, the CPI is actually, the headline number is forecast to decrease month over month, negative 0.1%. Remember, last month we were flat month over month. Now, negative 0.1%, the headline, because of lower energy prices. The core CPI is forecast, I think, to be up 0.3%. We'll look at those numbers in more detail early tomorrow morning, mostly because of lagging indicators with rent. So I don't know, man. I look at this and I'm like, and I've mentioned this a few times, I don't know why the Fed is being so hawkish at Jackson Hole, right? Jackson Hole, that's what started the big sell-off. There's going to be pain for everybody. You know, like month over month numbers now, 2 months in a row, starting to look like inflation is really cooled off. I guess they just don't want it to come back, but things are looking pretty decent from that perspective, in my opinion. And then interest rates for next week, the consensus is 0.75% increase. I see very little chance of a negative surprise. They're not going to come in at 1%. They're already as negative as they possibly could be at Jackson Hole next week. So I'm starting to think the catalysts are shaping up to be positive catalysts, maybe to move to the upside if CPI comes in line. And then the Fed, CPI is a little more of a question, right? But the Fed, I think it's pretty much all baked in for next week. And we still lost our connection, even though I started a new hardware. That was also supposed to be fixed. So anyway, we got to work on that. All right, so looking at all of these, you can see pre-market, everything is continuing. I left a note from Goldman Sachs, a summary of some Goldman Sachs notes that they're pretty constructive on the market right now. You can see risk assets up. Bitcoin's been particularly interesting because it had a huge surge on Friday to like 21,000. It's up again, another 4.5% this morning. That's a proxy for risk, which is pretty good for us. UUP, that's a proxy for looking at interest rates. So people are thinking, who knows, maybe Fed is going to start getting dovish at some point. Right? That's what it's trying to bake in. We have the quantitative tightening happening, but maybe they're not doing as much of that because the bonds are up this morning. So right now, things seem pretty good. That can change, right? That can change once we get CPI tomorrow and the Fed next week. But for right now, I'm pretty comfortable here. We're looking at energy, mixed signals on oil and natural gas over there. XLE's up 1.3%. Then we have our two alternative energy ETFs, uranium, holding its gains. That's been doing great. Solar energy, TAN, that's been doing great. Still up this morning. Now, let's get into some individual stocks. VTSI had some good signals last week because on Friday, it had a higher high, a higher low, and a higher close, right? So all of that very positive after its $9 million PR was made, and it bounced right off of that 50-week moving average, which I noted to everyone on Friday morning. It bounced right off of it. So the question is, after a pullback, can it now go above that? If it does, I think this has room to run. I think this has room to run to about 7. If it does break Friday's high of around lower 620s, which is a 50-week moving average. So watch that. SMSI I want to point out because there was very unusual price action on Friday. Love to see this. Heavy volume in the morning and then heavy volume in the afternoon. I've noted that's often a good sign of a big buyer coming in. And look, we're over the 50 DMA right here. We do have this big gap over here to deal with. I don't know. I'm not making a prediction of, is this going to shoot right there to 3 or something like that. I just want to know that this is unusual price action and there may be a big buyer taking a position. I haven't looked at options to see if there's any unusual options actions on Friday, but something to keep an eye on. Definitely unusual. A couple new stocks I want to bring to people's attention here. I'm not in these, but just in case people want to research it. SPPI, this had a FDA approval Friday. I really don't play FDA approvals, but in any case, it's up 17%, and HC Wainwright came up and upgraded this price target from 10 to 12, right? That's much higher than here. So is there an opportunity here? You guys, if you're interested in this kind of thing, take a look at it. 243 million market cap. I did play a little bit for like 3 cents profit per share. ALTO, ALTO. This has been on my watch list for a very long time. Someone in our community had privately been telling me about this, that the fundamentals are really good. I think this is an agriculture stock. It's some sort of food stock, I believe. Yeah, it's some sort of alcohol essential. No, maybe not. Renewable fuel and essential ingredients produce all. I'm not sure what it is, but yeast, corn, gluten. Okay, something to do with food or energy. In any case, this has been on my watch list. A trusted colleague of mine been saying this is very undervalued. And this morning, they came out with a $50 million buyback. So that caught my attention, throwing up at the top of the watch list. If someone wants to research that, this could be a good lead, something to look into. This morning, it hit much higher, 460, pulled back to about 416, 417 by 420 now. So ALTO, ALTO, something to look into. Now, we still have higher on our list. This was the stock we noted because of the $100 million in loans they got, line of credit here on September 6th. It's held its gains. And then someone from our community, Randy, who's more familiar with it, he says this is really good, really bullish for the company. He likes the setup, so we're hopefully looking for continuation in HYRE. QUIK, we're watching this after the big news they had, that big contract, $7 million up to $72 million with the Department of Defense, broke over that 20-week moving average, looking for some continuation on that. And it looks like, oh, no, look at that. This solution is not going to work for us. So let me switch to our other one. Did not realize that's a 15-minute thing. So you'll let me know if the resolution of that was better. We'll upgrade and get a better quality. We'll get that for the future. But for right now, let me switch to our other screen share. And then you'll be able to see the difference right away and let me know which one may be better. 1 second. Play. Here we go. Should just take 1 more second and we'll be up. All right. Going on here. Select window or screen. Okay, this is different. We're also using a different browser today. We were told it may help with the connectivity. All right. Okay. I don't know. Having some tech issues here this morning, but all right. Let's see if this is going to work. A little bit of a lag over here. So in any case, what else are we looking at? ALTO, HYRE, QUIK. We talked about that. XXII. I like what's going on here. There's a stock by Polo, the nicotine-free or almost nicotine-free cigarettes. Technically, I like the MACD flip over here. It's trying to challenge the 20 DMA. Market's good right now, so maybe that will pass that key resistance level. All right, TFFP. Things are cooking here. There's been some action. I invited Dan Carlson to come. He couldn't make it this morning. Tomorrow morning, he'll talk about some catalysts that are coming up on TFFP. And next we got, all right, let's dig into CFVI. CFVI has the vote, a little bit of lag here, it has the vote on Thursday morning. Okay, Thursday morning is going to be the vote. And we noted that support level bounced off of on Friday, so that worked out well. Listen, I'm going to be very cautious here. I actually already started reducing my position in pre-market. I think I'm going to be continuing to take any opportunities to reduce my position into Wednesday close. I think this is going to be massively volatile, and there's going to be opportunities to buy it lower. The way I'm looking at this, based on a lot of conversations I've had with people, looking at what did the bears say, what do the fundamentals say. By the way, there was a price initiation on this stock. Who was it by? D.A. Davidson, $15 price target. Okay, so D.A. Davidson put a $15 price target out there on CFVI, but I think that this stock is the overvalued, definitely, or at least richly valued in the $15 to $20 range. And the fair value, I think, and I'm not talking about fundamental value, I'm talking about market value when you take sentiment and other things into consideration. I think the $10 to $15 range is where the market value is going to end up being. And then the times where you could buy, I think we're going to have to downgrade that to $5 to $8 after the DSPAC, or perhaps around the vote, you may even see some opportunities below 10. So there's going to be some extreme volatility coming. And that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking to reduce my stake going into this extreme volatility, looking to definitely buy anything below 10, aggressively buy if we get into the 5 or 8 range. And if we go into the 15 plus range, that's where I take some off the table. So that's really looking at it from a story trading perspective, taking into consideration sentiment, catalysts, fundamentals, everything else, and obviously subject to change. We're getting a little bit of a bid this right now as we're talking, so I'm not sure if any new news came out or if they just tweeted something. Very possible they did, but don't get too excited. They will be tweeting. They will be pushing this out. They've been on a PR blitz over the last few weeks going into this vote, so I imagine there's going to be more PR blitzes coming up. And again, it may be the time to start thinking about selling on some of these pops and buying on the drops. Okay, so that's going to be my strategy with CFVI. Continue to monitor FREY. It's been having great pre-market action the last several days, and it doesn't really hold those pre-market gains. But overall, it's been very strong, very bullish. Goldman Sachs, $19 price target, EV batteries over the 20 DMA. So I really like that stock. GSAT, I don't own it. I'm putting it out here because this is the one that really popped on the Apple news. It was baked in. That's why it sold off from the high of 298 all the way down here. If you're familiar with the stock, now we got the pullback to the 50-week moving average, 50-day moving average right there. So perhaps this is something that's going to make sense to pick up if you like the fundamentals in the story over here. I'm not in it. If you are, let's hear from you. AGRX is on our radar because Tony from our community, who's been spot on about a lot of things, has us on his radar. They're at a conference this week, and he's thinking some interest can come back into the stock. We got to remove the 200 moving average here to get a good look. This is the Roe v. Wade play. It's birth control patches. So maybe it has some room to the 20 DMA. We'll see. I don't own it. We're watching it. GANX, we have a presentation tonight, VIP Zoom presentation tonight. So just put that on your radar. Looking forward to hearing the thesis on GANX tonight. Apparently some important catalysts coming up. Continue to watch a call from that thesis Matt gave us about what's going on in Russia and Ukraine. BTU and Arch looking good. Potash stocks looking okay this morning. Mosaic, where's IPI and the other one? Let's quickly look at them. I think they were all near breakout levels at the 20-day or 20-week moving average. There you go. IPI at the 20-day moving average. I think MOS, which we were just looking at, just broke above it. So right now, there you go, right above the 20 DMA. RSI still relatively low. So I'm thinking that the potash sector still has more to go. DocuSign and Zscaler are holding its gains after impressive move last week after earnings. You can see the sympathy moves continuing. CrowdStrike, PNW, TMUS up $1, 146.70, near all-time highs. So I'm really hoping that's going to break 150 in the coming weeks. I got October 150 call options on that. Clearfield and COMM, these are starting to look good. Bounced off the 50-day moving average here. Clearfield, BlackRock took a big stake, and Chris from the community also gave us COMM, same sector, lots of insider buying, and that's been looking good. So Clearfield and COMM on our radar. Air, I think I gave this to you guys last week as a potential move to $16. Yep, potential move to $16 because of this market rally we're in right now. So it didn't act great at the end of the day in the afternoon. On Friday, we'll see if this can continue moving to 16. If the market does well, I guess that'll be my target. Still waiting on Drio, very disappointed. GOEV, the 274. I don't know. It filled that gap all the way down to here. I mean, if the market rallies, this could be good, but it's a little bit of a tough one. You have a bearish crossover here, 2050. Where's the 200? We removed it. We got to put it back in. So let's go ahead. We removed it for AGRX. Let's put in the 200-day moving average, see where we are. It's way above up there on GOEV, but this is something, it could be interesting because it filled that gap, and obviously it has a strong sentiment because of that Walmart contract they have. And you can see a bunch of other stocks we're looking at. FAZE, I'm really interested in. Don't own it because I have no grasp of the technicals because TD failed on me here on this stock, FAZE. Anyway, you can see the uranium stocks up. So lots of interesting things going on. A lot of this is about, how the market does and market timing. And right now, things seem pretty good. Again, I mean, CPI, more of a question mark than the Fed is next week. No matter what happens with CPI, I think there's not going to be a negative surprise with the Fed next week. If CPI comes in light, beating expectations, meaning less inflation than expected, it's already like the expectations are pretty good. Not much month over month. But if it comes in better than expectations, then do we see the Fed getting dovish next week, right? And if that happens, then potentially we can have a rally to the next major moving averages over here, which would be a nice move. So anyway, that's what I'm looking at. I apologize for the technical issues. Let me know, though, if you guys have some feedback on these different software platforms we use. There are two different screen shares. The first one failed on us halfway through. If that was better resolution, let me know. Maybe we'll stick with that one. Also trying some different things with the browsers we're using and everything to decrease those connectivity issues. So just give me that feedback in the room. So tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern, we're going to have a special guest come on and introduce that stock to us. So look out for the link, GANX, GANX, and we'll continue collaborating in the rooms. Again, so sorry about those technical issues. Have a great day, everyone. Thanks for joining.